They are locked up in a room right now because they're interested in this new aquarium, so we had to put them away.
All right, it looks like we have everybody online today. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody's face on the screen. Hope you guys are having a great day. So we're going to go ahead and start this up. But before we do, I'm going to have the town clerk read her statement. And then if you would, then do a roll call attendance vote for us, please.
Absolutely. So good evening. I just wanted to go over a couple of logistics with relation to this meeting. Board members, please make sure to mute yourself when you're not talking and to keep your video on as we are streaming live to YouTube. With regards to how you will participate in this meeting, the mayor will be calling on each of you individually to provide your comments and votes. When voting, please remember to identify yourselves by stating your name and your vote. If you would like to speak at any point during the meeting, please raise your hand and be mindful of your background. If we are in the middle of a presentation and you are raising your hand but not being called on, please feel free to speak up. Most importantly, we want to make sure that the board members are able to participate in this meeting fully. So if you experience any technical difficulties, please let me know so that we can suspend the discussion. Next, we need to take the roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Mayor Ronald Pappas.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brenda McMillan.
Present.
Commissioner Pedro Mori.
Present.
Commissioner Jason Hall.
Present.
Commissioner Tracy Westlick.
Present.
Commissioner Ann Simpson.
Present.
Thank you. All members are present. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Very good. Thank you, Melody. All right, so we're going to call this meeting to order, but as we do that, I'd like to have you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise if you would. And then after that, a brief moment of silence. Okay, we'll start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Thank you, everybody. All right, we're going to drop down to the adoption of the agenda. Are there any requested changes to the agenda this evening? All right, I don't see any hands up, so we're green to go. So at this point, we'll do a roll call vote on the adoption of tonight's agenda. And I'll start with a motion, please, if somebody bring up a motion.
So moved.
Very good. Roll call vote to approve tonight's agenda. I'll start with Commissioner Moray.
Commissioner Mori, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Westlick.
Commissioner Westlick, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Good. Tonight's agenda is clear, so we're ready to go. As I understand it, there are no public comments. Is that correct, Melody, tonight?
That's correct.
Very good. We'll move down to the consent agenda then. If I could have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, consent agenda as published.
Moved.
Very good. We have a motion from Commissioner Moray to approve the agenda, consent agenda as published. Roll call vote. Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Westlick.
Commissioner Westlick, aye.
Moray.
Commissioner Mori, aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Consent agenda is passed as published. Let's go down to recognitions. I'm going to pass this over to Town Manager Jeff Wells. Jeff, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everybody. I'm pleased to recognize two members of our planning staff for their recent accomplishment of obtaining their credential of certified zoning official. Obtaining this credential is a multi-step process. It's courses that are offered through the North Carolina School of Government on behalf of the North Carolina Association of Zoning Officials. I believe at least 2, if not 3 courses are required prior to taking the exam. And of course, both Madison Miller, one of our senior planners, and Elisa Neal, planner, have passed the exam and are now acknowledged as certified zoning officials, or CZO, in the state of North Carolina. We're very proud of their accomplishment and greatly appreciate the opportunities to allow our staff to continue their education and gaining credentials that directly benefit the town. So we really want to take a moment to congratulate both Madison and Elisa, and also take the time to talk about the Association of Zoning Officials just for a moment, and what their purpose is, and that's encouraging and promoting the technical and legal quality of administration and those engaged in and interested in the field of zoning administration and enforcement in the state. So this is a very proud accomplishment for these two, still very, very young, but very seasoned planners. So I can't tell you how much that I am proud of them. And you just have a world-class planning staff, and they're just getting started in their career, and they're already accomplishing a lot as far as meeting some milestones. So just want to tell them how proud I am of them, and look forward to them continuing on with more educational opportunities as we move forward. Thank you.
Very good. Congratulations to the two of you. Would you, either one of you, like to say any words?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jeff, for the introduction. And it's been a true honor working with all of you guys, especially in the last 2 years. And then especially working through this LDC. It's been a great honor, and appreciate all the experience I've learned and gained.
Same with me. It's been such a great honor working with the planning staff at Town Hall, and Jeff has been an amazing planning director and a great influence on me, and has provided amazing guidance for me.
They're being too kind.
What day is payday, right? So you guys are doing such a great job. It's getting hard to keep up with the achievements that you guys are popping off. I think, Jeff, we're going to have some type of lockdown for these guys, get them, ankle bracelets and chains so they won't go anywhere. So, but it's really nice to see you guys take such an active interest in not only the town, but yourselves as well to promote. We're always proud when somebody just keeps improving everything about themselves. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you for helping us both through all this LDC stuff that we've been going through. It's been a lot of work. You guys have worked hard and long hours, and certainly worked for this certification, and my hearty congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Yeah, we get the proverbial, we have to do this to the side, right? So it doesn't do anything. I think that's pretty good. There you go. I saw that, Brenda. That's great. All right. Well, thank you for that, Jeff. We're going to drop down to new business, and does it look like we got Theo online here? Is that where we are on the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan? Or we have Matt and Theo. So you guys have the floor. It's yours.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
There you go.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
So far, so good.
Okay. Tonight, we're going to discuss the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and what that is and how it affects the town's transportation planning efforts. Please feel free to ask questions at any time. Next slide, please. The Metropolitan Transportation Plan, that plan is developed by the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization, or CRTPO, and that is a federally designated Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO. MPOs are required by federal law for urbanized areas that have a population greater than 50,000. The MPO that Waxhaw belongs to is the CRTPO, and that map to the right shows the boundaries of the CRTPO, and the CRTPO is made up of municipalities and NCDOT that fall within that boundary. Next slide, please. The long-range transportation planning process is composed of 3 steps. The first step is the Comprehensive Transportation Plan, or CTP, which envisions how the transportation network should evolve throughout the region. Priorities in the CTP are not funded at that stage. The second step is the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, or MTP, which we will later discuss projects to get added to the MTP. The MTP must be fiscally constrained, which means that anticipated funding has to be identified to cover the costs of programmed projects. The MTP is updated every 4 years. Once a project is part of the MTP, it will be prioritized for incorporation into the third step, which is the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. Once a project is part of the TIP, it will be designed, right-of-way purchased, and constructed by NCDOT. Having a project added to the MTP makes a project go from just an idea to a viable project that is fiscally constrained. An example of a fiscally constrained project on the TIP is the NC-16 widening. Next slide, please. The long-range transportation planning process is a collaborative process between NCDOT, CRTPO, the town of Waxall, and other municipalities. The following projects that I will recommend being submitted for scoring and consideration to be part of the MTP are recommended in approved town plans such as the Waxall Master Transportation Plan and the Waxall Marvin Road Corridor Study. Just because a project is submitted for consideration into the MTP does not mean that it will score well enough to get added to it. Next slide, please. The first of 3 projects for consideration is the Waxall Parkway Northwest Connector. This proposed project is a new location roadway that has 2 lanes. The project runs from the terminus of the existing parkway and then is a new location roadway until it meets Helms Road. This project will be coordinated and tied to the future NCDOT project at this location. The construction of the Parkway connector will create a direct connection from NC-16 to 75, as well as a direct connection from NC-16 to Waxall Marvin Road. This new route will offer an alternative route for traffic to bypass downtown. Next slide, please. The second project for consideration to be submitted is the Waxall Parkway East, which is a new location roadway from NC-16 to NC-75 on the east side of town. This project is being submitted as a 2-lane project, however, with enough right-of-way acquired for widening to 4 lanes whenever traffic warrants that. Traffic volume data shows us that the heaviest movement in downtown Waxall is NC-16 southbound traffic that wants to go east on NC-75. This new road will offer a bypass to downtown, so through traffic doesn't have to pass through the historic district. This project has been evaluated in previous MTPs, however, has not made the list. Town staff has been very vocal about the need of this project to the CRTPO as well as NCDOT. Next slide. The third project for consideration is the Waxall Marvin Road corridor, which runs from Bonds Grove Church Road down to Helms Road. This project will upgrade the stretch of road to a 3-lane section that will have improved access management to allow for turn lanes at all subdivision entrances and intersection improvements at Bonds Grove, Gray Byram, and Pine Oak Road. Pedestrian and bike accommodations for this section will include a 10-foot multi-use path on one side and a 5-foot sidewalk on the other side. Next slide, please. And town staff recommends the approval of the submission of the Waxhaw Parkway Northwest Connector, the Waxhaw Parkway East, and the Waxhaw Marvin Road Corridor Study as candidate projects for CRTPO's 2050 MTP. Next slide. Are there any questions about any of these projects or the process?
Hey, Tio, this is Commissioner Hall. I do have a quick question for you.
Okay.
This is very well put together, by the way. The question is, obviously, as you know, this is a very hot topic with a lot of the residents, not just in Waxhaw, but in our surrounding neighbors as well. Is there anything that the citizens can do to help elevate or strengthen the need for these projects at the CRTPO?
The CRTPO, they finished the public input for this MTP. There was a survey that went out on the website where citizens could put input. We had that on our town website as well as the social media outlets. I believe that stage of the MTP development has concluded, but I can look into it to see if any emails or things like that can still be added for the process.
That's great. Thank you.
Any other thoughts or comments for our presenter, Theo? Theo, just one question from me, just to be sure. We have 3 separate motions on here tonight because these are 3 separate projects, correct?
That's correct.
All right. All right, if there are no other questions, we'll move this along a little bit. I guess I'm looking now for somebody to make a motion on the item number 1, which is a motion to approve the submission of the northwest section of Waxall Parkway for consideration in the 2050 MTP. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve of the submission of Waxhaw Parkway Northwest.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Westlake. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote around. Remember to state your name, Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
The motion passes on that one unanimously. We're going to move down to the second part. I have a motion on that one, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the project. If you could just put the slide back so I can get the whole.
Is that the Waxhaw corridor one?
This is the second one. This is a motion to approve the submission of the northeast section on Waxhaw Parkway. And we have a motion up from Commissioner Morey for the approval. So roll call vote, please. I'm going to go with Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Thank you on that. And it looked like a couple of you on the last one were trying to speak but didn't unmute yourself. So remember, next up, we have a motion to approve the submission for the Waxall Marvin Road Corridor portion of this MTP. Do I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Good. We have a motion to approve on, well, I'll let you make the motion. I asked for the motion. I didn't specify, so I'll let you make the motion.
I make the motion to approve the submission of the Waxhaw Marvin Road Corridor for consideration in the 2050 MTP.
Very good. We'll roll to a roll call vote on that. Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Simpson.
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Westlake.
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall.
Commissioner Hall, aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Outstanding. Thank you, everyone. We are unanimous on all three measures there. So Theo, now you've got your work cut out, as I do. Try to move these things forward a little bit. As most of you know that I'm on that board of the CRTPO. So I'll try to get a very favorable ear over there. All
Thanks,
right. So
everybody.
thank you very much for that. And was there a comment?
I just said thank you, everybody.
Very good. Thanks, Theo. All right, we're going to move down to the endorsement of application for the Parks and Rec Trust Fund, the PARTIF Fund. We've talked about this at length. So we have up next, Ms. Dina Sabinsky, Parks and Rec Director. Dina, floor is yours. Welcome. Good evening.
Hello, all.
Hey there.
All righty. So first up, we're going to talk about the PARTIF grant. Oh, there we go. We are, as you know, advancing on our downtown park, and we're super excited. We've got phase one already designated for funding, but now we're looking at phase two and how to help with the funding on the amenities of the park. So as you see, we have our downtown park, and we're looking for our PARTIF grant to help with that funding. So the PARTIF grant is an awesome grant that the North Carolina General Assembly votes every year to designated funding for North Carolina. And we have the ability to ask for matching funds using this grant for park amenities. And so they like to use their funds on the pretty stuff, the interactive activities within a park. So that's the reason why phase two works out awesome. Okay. So with this grant, it is due at the beginning of May, and there's a long process and a very lengthy like grading point system that goes along with it. So we've actually been working on that point system pretty much this whole past year, when we're doing the update to the plan. And what this does is helps us to be very viable to go after this grant. And so from this point, we are asking your permission to do a resolution to go for the grant and for matching funds. So with that being said, with the phase two that y'all saw last meeting, to move forward with the park, these amenities would be that matching grant with guidance from our RRS, and that is Recreation Resource Services. That's kind of like our helpers when it comes to administrating the grant and helping us have a really good application. RS actually also is a great resource for Park and Rec professionals when it comes to research and helping us advance our local Park and Rec. So they're awesome group of people. Ours is our representative is Mr. King. So I got in touch with him a couple weeks ago, and we were trading back emails. And last week we got the news that came down where the officials, the board that's over the grant, was encouraging all the representatives to talk to the applicants that probably don't ask for the full amount this year because of cuts in the budget. So after a lot of discussion and a lot of going back and forth, it was recommended that we don't ask for the full amount and we go for still a good amount to help us with our project, because our project is pretty, huge, and first time applicants for the town of Waxhaw. So they recommended that we go for $425, which is still a good significant amount of money. But we were, of course, I was saddened by it, but we still would like to ask the council to consider for us to go for the part of grant for $425. And that way we have a viable application that will look fondly on us on acceptance with the budget amount. So with all that said, I wanted to give you a little bit background on RS too. So we're in the central western region. So that's kind of like in the middle of the state that Mr. King is helping out all the municipalities with their grants. And it's just one of those things where I took his advice very heavily on this, and with talking with Mr. John too, with Benish, that seemed like their best option to receive funding. So we are asking for your consideration to go after the part of grant for the match of $425 and get ready to build us a park. Questions?
Very good. Well, we were all waiting for your question slide to come up. So.
Oh, sorry. I kept the slide up so y'all can make the motion.
All right.
That's a good tactic. Dean, I have
Hey.
one question.
Yes, sir.
Have we spoken with Leslie Munzingo about this?
Yes, we have. Actually, Miss Melody and I had a wonderful conversation with her yesterday afternoon, like over an hour, talking about this particular grant and some other opportunities as well. So yes, and she was very gracious and said that she would look over our application as well. But the RS, the representative, this is kind of what they do. So he's going to give us our best viable on making it. But I definitely Ms. Melly and I are already picking her brain on what to do.
Does she also recommend we apply for this amount?
I don't think I think I told her that we were going to go for less than 500, but I don't remember exactly if I told her 425.
So she does understand why we're doing it for less.
Oh,
correct?
yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Well, we're all excited to see this thing move to another spot. I mean, as you all know, this is not a necessary component to moving forward with this park, but it certainly will provide an offset to the expense of building it. So it's a little bit of I guess, not necessarily a no-brainer. I won't ever really allude to that, but we're going to look for a recommendation on this as well. So who's going to stand up and make the motion?
Now, I will be more than happy to make the motion for you. So I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2021003, endorsing the town of Waxhaw's application for the Partif grant for the amount of $425,000 with a 50-50 local match of $425,000.
That's awesome. So, and that will go to a roll call vote, but any discussion beforehand? Seeing none, we'll continue on. Commissioner Westlake,
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Morey, aye.
Commissioner Simpson,
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Thank you, everybody, on that one as well. We're really looking forward to moving this along. Dina, what's the latest timeline? We're still looking to put a shovel in the ground in fall, is it?
I'm doing my best for September.
Very good. Well, appreciate all those efforts. We'll let you do the first camp out over there. How's that? All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for that. Next one, I think you're up again, Dina, to talk to us about the contract extension for Vinesh. So floor is back to you.
Okay. Alrighty. So with Vinesh, we have been in contract with them right now with the update of the master plan, which has been working out great. And we would like to extend that contract to do our construction documents and all the permitting and bidding that goes along with getting our park ready. So staff would recommend that Vinesh would be preparing the construction documents and managing the permitting and bidding and construction services for phase 1 and phase 2, with the town manager executing the contract. As you saw in our information, when we talked about phase 1 and phase 2, we had those estimate budgets. So within those estimate budgets that you already recommended for us to move forward on, Vinesh actually had their cost inside of those. So this broken out cost is inside of those already estimated budgets. So there's no extra cost associated. I just want to make sure that was very clear. We are asking to move forward with the already estimated costs with phase 1 and phase 2. This is with Vinesh, we're just breaking it out so we can start that process so we can have a shovel in the ground in September. Because as you know, that it's a lot of moving parts to get us there. So as soon as we can get that ready, we'll start moving. So staff recommends to extend their contract, and so we can start that process.
And Mayor, just as a quick follow-up to Dina, if the board moves in this direction, then at your following meeting on February 23rd, Rosemary will prepare a budget ordinance item, and we'll establish the line item budget for this project and continue to move forward.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. I was curious about that, but I know we have to give her the direction to do so, and that's what we'd be looking for tonight with this group here. So Dina, thank you very much for providing some more information. I know, again, we're all real excited to get this moving forward. This would at least start the bidding process so we can get a better handle on our costs, and if we have to make some adjustments in the future, but this is the way it starts. So I will be looking to the rest of you. One of you, you want to run to the front, make a motion on this contract extension?
I'll make the motion to extend our contract with Vinesh for the preparation of construction documents and management of permitting, bidding, and construction services for phase 1 and 2 to allow the town manager to execute the contract.
Thank you, Brenda. So we have a motion to approve on this stuff. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, we'll go for a roll call vote. Commissioner Morey,
Commissioner Maury, aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Westlake,
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Simpson,
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
and over to Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Thank you. Dina, now you've got your work cut out for you, so congratulations for moving along this way and getting it all prepared for us to review. So again, we're very, very excited to have this take that next step. And we're just that much closer to getting this thing started and eventually completed. So thank you very much for all of the effort, and thank everybody on the town staff and your Parks and Rec staff to help you along with this, and say thank you to Banesh and the consultant as well to help you along with the grant writing. So appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, as I understand it as well, there are no general public comments tonight, so we're going to move down to the town leadership reports. We're going to go to the town manager, Jeffrey Wells.
Thank you again, Mayor. Just two very, very quick items. Budget season has kicked into high gear here in town. We've already discussed the BOC thoughts about this year's upcoming budget at the retreat, but also just wanted to remind you that if you think of something between now and the budget workshop that you want us to look into, just let us know at any time. And also just wanted to announce that our vehicles through our enterprise lease program have begun to arrive. We actually have a couple of them that are already in use, and then a couple of more that will be in use very soon. We also have a number of police vehicles that will be arriving in March as well. We're really excited and feel that this program will modernize our fleet, particularly in regards to those police vehicles that get run into the ground pretty quickly. So we'll be talking to them too this week about year 2 of the program and continuing to move that forward. But we have those vehicles now. You'll start to see those more and more on the road as we move forward. Thank you.
Very good. Well, it's exciting to see a few of those in the parking lot over here this afternoon. So I guess we'll have an entire fleet here in no time at all. Share with us a little bit on how we dispose of the vehicles that are going to be disposed of.
Well, that's a good question. So we use a service called GovDeals. They're kind of like the eBay for government surplus. And so they're actually quite enticing, particularly the old police vehicles. They usually, I mean, they're not worth a lot, but I mean, they pretty much get what is asked for more often than not, because people like to have them an old surplus police vehicle. So it will work. Our public services department has pretty good experience surplusing all those vehicles and other things. So that's what we'll be moving to do.
Very good. And how do they, I guess, take them apart? So you have a PD unit. It goes over to Todd's operation and then they dismantle it?
That's correct. Yep. It gets stripped down and then it's surplused, stripped down.
All right, sounds great. I wonder if there's an eBay program for all that stuff too. I'm sure there is. So that'll be nice to see that thing finally take shape there, and we'll get a nice fresh fleet of vehicles out there and that are dependable. And I'm looking forward to this thing transitioning. Now this transition will go over a period of years. Is that right?
That's correct. We're looking at a 5-year period. So this first year, we've got 4 vehicles now, 2 are in use, and then 2 more are about to be put in use, and then 8 police vehicles when they arrive. So this first year will be 12 vehicles. And then we'll be discussing tomorrow actually with the enterprise representatives, which vehicles move into year 2. And it'll mostly be police vehicles again, and then a couple of other ones probably in public service and Parks and Rec.
Very good. Well, it'll be nice to see you again when I see that program get initiated. So thanks for that effort. I know it saves the town a bunch of money and certainly alleviates the need for major service performed by our staff, and we can free them up for some other things. So thank you for that program. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to move down to the Parks and Recs Director, Dina. Third time's a charm. You up to bat?
I'm going to show you some really cool stuff. This is going to be awesome.
We're liking that.
All righty. So we're going to talk about what's going on in the Park and Rec world. And there we go. So we are in our winter program guide, and that goes till March. So please take a look on the wonderful things that Miss Amy and Miss Lisa has in store for us going on. So, oh goodness, our fitness program, we have walking club every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every Tuesday, Thursday, Miss Amy, I think, has a new person that joins us. So it's becoming really popular. So that's really awesome for one, to get to know our downtown through walking it and to meet your neighbors. So this is an awesome activity. This week we started our adult yoga with partnership with Waxall Yoga. So that's another community business that we're partnering with, and we appreciate that a lot. So look out for that, and you can still join if you so choose to. This Thursday, we have a youth and teen program with Miss Kristen. So 8 Legs and the Art Box is a great community partners as well. So please join that class. I know we have a couple more spots that are still available. Also, we have a paint and sip with another collaboration with 2 businesses, Miss Kristen again and Queen South. So it's a great way to meet your neighbors as well and have some fun. At the end of the month, we have our charcuterie class. The last 2 times we've had it, it's been packed. It was totally full. So we only have 10. So go ahead and set your calendars and go ahead and get registered for that class. So this weekend, Miss Amy and I had the wonderful idea to do a photo shoot, family photo shoot for downtown, and celebrate all of our businesses that are having activities around Valentine's. The weather is not participating with me very well right now. So please keep a lookout on social media when closer to Friday. If we have to postpone, or we'll do another photo shoot probably for St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to try to make this fun environment for our outside activities. So hopefully we can pull this off this weekend if the weather cooperates, but just keep an eye out for social media. So y'all know that I love the Hero Project. It's our way to mobilize recreation, right? So I want to share with you last week's awesome program that we partnered up with, actually with Queen South. We had a pizza party after they got to play and did a craft. But this is what recreation means. This is building community. This is what this means. And that we were able to, with the CARES funding, to provide this service for our citizens. So please join us tomorrow. We're going to be at Barnes Park. I'm going over a classic story, Jack and the Beanstalk, and have some games and a craft. Next week, we're going to be at Town Creek. So this is one of those, please join us. We are looking at future other times too, because that was some of the comments that we saw on social media. But this is just a wonderful program that builds that sense of community. Again, keep your flag your dates for upcoming events that are happening for Waxall. March, we're going to do our first drive-in. So please go ahead and you can go ahead and sign up now on Rec Desk and go ahead and get your spot. So with tonight, we got forward with the part of grant. So yay. And then we got forward with the our helpers with Benesh with all of our construction documents. And what this means is, because I've already got John working on getting the survey done, like contracted by the end of the week, and the soil samples by, get that done by the end of the week. So we're ready. I'm like, we're going to make this happen. So I just want to give you a heads up where we're at, and I'll do this every update. And then as we go into it, you'll see more like intuitive concepts of what things look like, the finishes look like. So you're on the journey with us, right? You're hands deep and getting and helping out with those suggestions. So again, super excited. Volunteers. Can't say this enough. We are doing more social media on trying to get more volunteer engagement with our citizens. Love to have you part of the team. And please, if you would like to adopt a space, love to have do that. Volunteer with us with our future events and even some of our programs. This is one of those things how you can be more engaged with your community and get to know your neighbors. So love to see you. Businesses and artists. Our next program guide comes out in April. It goes to April to June. So we're looking for you now. So please come in contact with myself, Miss Amy. We can get you a part of this awesome journey that we're on giving recreation to Waxall. So please come and join us. As y'all know, COVID's still here. We're making life happen, keeping everything clean. The same restrictions are still in place until March 31st. And we keep updated with state requirements and the governor. So we're always on task with that as well. As always, I leave you with our vision and mission. And if you have any questions, I would gladly help you with that.
Dina, just one question.
Yes,
Could
sir.
you possibly send me a copy of that last slide, the volunteer slide?
Yes, definitely.
I was looking for it on the Facebook page and I didn't see it.
Yep.
That one.
I will send you the whole packet of information and how to sign up.
Sure, I'm probably gonna post it.
Thank you.
Always good news to hear and all the things you're doing, Dina. So thank you very much for that report this week. Any other questions, comments for Miss Dina? All right, I don't see any hands up. We're gonna move down to one. We're gonna move down to any comments by the Board of Commissioners. So I get you for the next 2 hours. There we go. All right, so tonight I'd like to spend a little time with you and kind of share some thoughts and give me a little pause here and we'll kind of get ready to hear this. But today I'd like to share a snapshot of our journey during the past year with some of our achievements. 2020 was actually a great year for the town of Waxhaw, in spite of setbacks like floods, drinking water issues, rallies, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Because of the varied levels of experience and perspectives that this team brings to the entire organization, the town has managed to successfully move forward on several collaborative initiatives. One of the first initiatives was to conduct an unbiased evaluation of the town's capacity to move forward. A top to bottom review of each of our personnel, their capabilities, experience, and needs. This allows some of the stresses on the organization to be identified, redirected, and thus pave the way to the building of a high-performing, action-oriented team that could effectively move the town into the future. A second initiative was to hire a full-time permanent town manager. Without an experienced full-time leader in this position, we would lack the capability to achieve any stated goal. A third initiative was to hire a new finance director, someone experienced in municipal finance who could provide the oversight necessary to manage the myriad of daily financial activities. A fourth initiative was to revisit the town's vision, land use ordinances, and growth strategies to better shape solid, reasonable, and sensible guidelines. This would help us create better traffic patterns while also including more aesthetic requirements to support the character of each specific area of our town. And a fifth initiative was to reestablish relationships with some of our regional partners, Union County, NCDOT, Union County Economic Development Corporation, and the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization, affectionately known as CRTPO, to name a few. CRTPO is the funding liaison for infrastructure improvements between NCDOT and some of the Charlotte region's governmental bodies. In January of 2020, the town leadership reviewed the financial and contractual obligations of the town for the period of the second half of that fiscal year. During that time, it was decided not to move forward with a proposed agreement relative to town-owned properties in the downtown area due to highly unfavorable terms with conditions that were not as favorable for the town of Waxall, which would have resulted in the loss of almost $2 million in town asset over a 4-year period. Additionally, in January of 2020, Prescott Village, after more than 10 years of sitting with no activity, was given a new lease on life as a result of discussions with its ownership. Those discussions resulted in the owner's additional investment in the property, which included the completion of a signalized intersection, sidewalk, and pavement improvements. You may all have noticed the recent construction activity at that site now, which includes a previously approved auto wash, gas station, 2 restaurants, and a pet care center. The net effect of this effort will not only result in additional sales and property tax revenues, but also improves our tax-based residential to non-residential ratios, which, by the way, has moved from 93.7 a year ago to 89.11 as of this last week. In February of 2020, the leadership team hired a new finance director, Rosemary Bernauer, and completed its first annual retreat, successfully setting the course for the coming year by prioritizing its needs and concerns financially, administratively, and strategically. This will take the town forward into the next 20 years. In March, after reviewing more than 70 applicants for the position of town manager, we successfully hired a new town manager. Jeff Wells, the former director of planning for the town, was unanimously selected by the Board of Commissioners for this position. Since March, we have successfully navigated the COVID-19 communication waters with the help of our experienced and technically creative IT team. This team has allowed the town to keep on serving its customers, team members, and Board of Commissioners with the ability to remotely operate the town with little or no interruption, in addition to coordinating the efforts to broadcast our first ever virtual board meeting. That team effort continues today to support all of us. Late spring brought us into what is affectionately known as the budget season, which was traditionally a long, drawn-out, and arduous process for the town in the months leading up to the budget deadline in June. In 2020, those efforts were different. After just a few short weeks of collaborative exchanges between the town manager, the department leadership, and the staff, the Board of Commissioners was presented with an operational budget for their preliminary review. That process resulted in the Board of Commissioners approving an almost $2 million reduction in spending for that fiscal year, thus setting up the town of Waxhaw to be in a stronger financial position for the year 2021. In July, after several months of discovery and negotiations, the town of Waxhaw and the YMCA came to an amicable agreement to terminate their original agreement due to significant financial concerns by both parties. As unfortunate as this might have been to all concerned, the termination effectively released the town of an uncommitted debt obligation of more than $10 million, thus allowing the town to refocus on some much needed financial and project goals. During the summer of 2020, the town also purchased a 17.4 acre site from Union County at the intersection of Waxall Marvin and Kensington Road for the purpose of relocating our public services and our park and recreation operations, in addition to providing the ability to have some future town use at that property. The summer of 2020 also saw a commitment by the Board of Commissioners to fund and design the first phase construction of a long-awaited downtown area park, which we referred to a little bit earlier. The park project received its near final design approval from the board and will be designated in construction, or designed in construction, in phases with initial clearing operations to start this fall. In October, the town successfully closed the sale of the property known as the Nivens Price Building that I had mentioned earlier, a non-performing asset that the town purchased some 8+ years earlier. That sale generated $1.23 million in an all-cash transaction, which the town manager and his team, which included our town attorney, Charlie Buckley, they were able to close that deal in 30 days. The town retained the parking lot directly behind that property, as well as a property on the corner, affectionately known as the community corner. On January 28th and 29th of this year, we completed the town of Waxhaw's annual retreat. This was the second retreat since I have been in office, and proudly the best one yet. Prior to this administration, annual retreats were led by a facilitator primarily focused on vision planning and team building exercises. While they may have been originally structured to build relationships between the town leadership and staff, the consensus by the staff is that those efforts did not set achievable and realistic goals, causing frustration at all levels of the organization. Today's staff consensus, I'm happy to report, reveals a much more positive, energized, and unified team with the assurance and guidance and direction from the Board of Commissioners and the town manager. This year's retreat was facilitated by the town manager and his staff to give and get direction on several initiatives, directives, and goals for the upcoming year. The retreat produced a great deal of discussion, collaboration, and consensus on several topics. Some of these, which include the pre-design of the public services and park and rec facility on the newly acquired Waxall Marvin property, location for the new town hall and its pre-design, funding models and strategies for financing and cash funding of town projects. Part of that is going to be the first phase of the downtown park. Board commitment to the base required to fund the funding model based on the tax base. Development of a 5-year master plan for capital improvements. Development of financial policies as recommended by Davenport, our financial consultant. By the way, in the first time in its 132-year history, the town of Waxhaw is at the jumping off point to having a rating by S&P and Moody. That is a first. We also looked at some organizational structures and changes. We looked at the federal grant action plan, historic landmark facade improvement plan, and funding approval for the design and construction, again, of phase 1 of the downtown park. It was a very successful retreat with many accolades shared and expressed by staff, town leadership, and the Board of Commissioners. I would encourage you all to watch the videos of the retreat. Recently, the Board of Commissioners sought to fulfill an earlier initiative of getting more of the town's citizens involved in the voting process by exploring and amending the election cycle to even year elections. This would additionally produce a cost savings benefit to the town. Waxhaw, like many other municipalities, has traditionally experienced dismal voter turnout in off-cycle years. Current statistics for Waxhaw continue to support that voter participation nearly quintuples in even year elections versus odd year elections. To facilitate this goal, the Board of Commissioners, in concert with the town staff, went to work on researching how other municipalities move to bring more voters to the polls. Research was done in part by looking at several municipalities who have already converted to the even year cycle, by information and guidance from the University of North Carolina School of Government, by discussions with Union County Office of Board of Elections, and with conversations with some of our elected officials at the legislative levels. From this research, and according to our state legislators, we learned that several municipalities have already enacted this type of change, and several more are now considering changing. Most everything in government involves a process, and this is no different. The prescribed legal process is for the municipality's elected officials to bring forward a resolution to ask our state legislators to consider our request and give guidance on how to move forward. This request, or any request to amend the charter of the town of Waxhaw, are solely granted by NC State Legislature under the authority of the general statutes of the state of North Carolina. The town of Waxhaw has employed this process in previous years to amend its charter. Once in 1979, to increase the number of commissioners from 3 to 5, and to extend the terms of office for the mayor and the commissioners from 2 years to 4 years. And again in 2005, to change the form of government to council manager, which we exist under today. At our last Board of Commissioners meeting, the commissioners voted 4-1 in favor of moving forward with this effort by approving a resolution to submit to the state legislators for their guidance and consideration. There are those out there that choose to spread misinformation to our residents in the press, in social media, and in uninformed conversations to confuse or divert from the actual facts. There will be those who will object, and there will be those who will support. It's the first step in a prescribed legal process. The intention is, and always has been, to do what's best for the town of Waxhaw going forward. On Sunday, many of you witnessed a Super Bowl victory that demonstrated what good team building, organization, planning, and strategic initiatives can do to achieve success. Waxhaw's future, like many sports franchises, will be the result of rebuilding and strengthening its team, identifying desired long-term actionable goals and strategies, and coupling those goals by shaping short-term initiatives. During the election cycle of 2019, my personal promise to those who wanted to change the status quo was, if elected, I would bring my many years of experience as a real estate developer and home building executive to serve in the best interest of the town of Waxhaw. Under my guidance and working collaboratively with the town's leadership, several course corrections and actionable initiatives have occurred, including building and strengthening the town's partnerships with regional and state organizations. The town of Waxall will continue to grow as a high-performing team by identifying future goals, researching the strategy methods, and execute the necessary and prescribed action steps to achieve the defined goal. This is the way forward for the long-term success and the future of the town of Waxall. Thank you for that time. We'll move down to then the closed session. There are no items on the closed session, so I will move to ask for adjournment of tonight's session.
So moved.
Very good. Okay, I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem McMillan to adjourn tonight. So if you would, we'll do a roll call vote around the horn. Commissioner Westlake?
Commissioner Westlake, aye.
Commissioner Hall?
Commissioner Hall, aye.
Commissioner Simpson?
Commissioner Simpson, aye.
Commissioner Morey?
Commissioner Moore, aye.
Back down to Mayor Pro Tem McMillan.
Brenda McMillan, aye.
Very good. Thank you all for your time tonight. We are adjourned. Charlie, good to see you again. Hopefully everything is going well with you.
It is, Mayor. Thank you, and hope everyone will be safe. Thank you.